We have more about art or Perennial Philosophy of Aldous Huxley, reading with Mermaid. This is about artists. Artist inspiration may be either a human or a spiritual grace, or a mixture of both. High artistic achievement is impossible without at least those forms of intellectual, emotional, and physical mortification appropriate to the kind of art which is practiced. Over and above this course of what may be called professional mortification, some artists have practiced a kind of self-naughting, which is the indispensable precondition of the unitive knowledge of the divine ground. Fra Angelico, for example, prepared himself for his work by means of prayer and meditation from the foregoing extract from Sun Tzu. We see how essentially religious and not merely professional was the Taoist craftsman's approach to his art. Here we may remark in passing that mechanization is incompatible with inspiration. Mechanization is incompatible with inspiration. The artisan often did do a thoroughly bad job. But if, like Chin, the chief carpenter who he cared for his art and were ready to do what was necessary to make himself docile in inspiration, he could and sometimes did do a job so good that it seemed as though of supernatural execution. Among the many and enormous advantages of efficient automatic machinery is this: it is completely foolproof, but every gain has to be paid for. The automatic machine is foolproof, but just because it is foolproof, it is also grace-proof. The man who tends such a machine is impervious to every form of aesthetic inspiration, whether human or genuinely spiritual reason. Industry without art is brutality. Industry without art is brutality. But actually, Ruskin aligns the brutes. The industrious bird or insect is inspired when it works by the infallible animal grace of instinct, by Tao, manifests itself on the level immediately above the physiological. The industrial worker at his foolproof and grace-proof machine does his job in a man-made universe of functional automata. A universe that lies entirely beyond the pale of Tao, on any level, brutal, human, or spiritual. In this context, we may mention those sudden theophanies which are sometimes vouchsafed to children and sometimes to adults who may be poets or Philistines, learned or unsophisticated, who have this in common, that they have done nothing at all to prepare for what has happened to them. Those gratuitous graces which have inspired much literary pictorial art, some splendid and some, when inspirational, was not seconded by natural talent, native talent, pathetically inadequate, seem generally to belong to one or another of two main classes: sudden and profoundly impressive perception of ultimate reality as love, light, and bliss, and a no less impressive perception of it as dark, awe-inspiring, inscrutable power in memorable forms. Wordsworth has recorded his own experience of both these aspects of the divine ground. There was a time when meadow, grove, and stream, the earth, and every common sight to me did seem apparelled in celestial light, and so on. But that was not the only vision. Lustily I dipped my oars into the silent lake, and as I rose upon the stroke, my boat went ever heaving through the water like a swan, when from behind that craggy steep, still then, the horizon's bound, a huge peak, black and huge, as if with voluntary power instinct, upreared its head. I struck again, and growing still in stature, the grim shape towered up between me and the stars. But after I had seen that spectacle for many days, my brain worked with a dim and underdetermined sense of unknown modes of being. Over my thoughts there hung a darkness, call it solitude, or blank desertion. Interesting. Significantly, it is to this second aspect of reality, the primitive minds seem to have been more receptive. The formidable God to whom Jehovah submits is an unknown mode of being, whose most characteristic creations are Behemoth and Leviathan. It is the sort of God who calls, in Kierkegaard's phrase, for teleological suspensions of morality, chiefly in the form of blood sacrifices, even human sacrifices. The Hindu goddess Kali, in her most frightful aspect, is another manifestation of the same unknown mode of being, and by many contemporary savages the underlying ground is apprehended and theologically rationalized as sheer unmitigated power, which have propitiously worshipped and, if possible, turned to profitable use by means of compulsive magic. Reading from the Celestial Perennial Philosophy, Aldous Huxley. Outdoor. This is outdoor cafe. Outdoor cafe. With Merla.